The Afghan Taliban Foreign Minister Amir Muttaqi arrived in Bharat for a week of talks, a visit which had been previously unimaginable. It is the Taliban's highest level visit to the country since seizing power in 2021. Muttaqi is due to discuss diplomatic, trade and economic ties with Indian officials during what is supposed to be an 8-day-long stay. Now, highlighting the growing importance of Bharat-Afghan ties in a significant diplomatic meeting, External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar met up with Amir Muttaqi, discussing counter-terrorism, trade and development, marking a renewed commitment to bilateral relations and people-to-people connection between Hindustan and Afghanistan, and largely to focusing towards bringing more stability in the region. Bharat announced the upgrading of its technical mission in Kabul to the status of an embassy and pledged to renew its development works in Afghanistan. Dr. Jaishankar also appreciated the Taliban's setup for showing sensitivity towards New Delhi's security concerns. Now, let's also get you the key takeaways from this meet that took place earlier in the day. Bharat and Afghanistan are stepping up their diplomatic engagement. The Kabul technical mission will be upgraded to a full mission, signaling stronger ties. Afghan authorities have invited Indian firms for mining and exploration projects. Amir Muttaqi has assured that Afghan soil will not be used against Bharat. Both countries have agreed to jointly tackle cross-border terrorism, and Bharat will issue a higher number of student and medical visas to deepen people-to-people links. Muttaqi has also emphasized that Afghanistan sees Bharat as a close and trusted friend, reinforcing the growing partnership between the two nations.
During the American occupation, there was many ups and downs that happened. However, throughout this time, we never gave a statement against India. Rather, we always sought good relations with India.
We have a common commitment towards growth and prosperity. However, these are endangered by the shared threat of cross-border terrorism that both our nations face. We must coordinate efforts to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. We appreciate your sensitivity towards India's security concerns.
But as Bharat ramps up its Afghan outreach, the move has clearly rattled Pakistan, which has long tried to exert influence over Kabul. Afghanistan was rocked by explosions as Pakistan conducted a cross-border operation targeting the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan's camps in Kabul and in other parts of Afghanistan amid escalating tensions between the countries. But why the conflict between Pakistan and the Taliban in Afghanistan is intensifying is also another question and another aspect to consider. Pakistan is accused of backing ISIS terrorists to destabilize the Taliban regime, while also pushing back Afghan refugees who have lived across the border for decades. Islamabad alleges that Afghan government is harboring TTP fighters and is frustrated with the Taliban for not following its diktats on international issues. Now, adding to the tensions, the Taliban continues to refuse recognition of the Durand Line as the official Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Pakistan accusing Afghanistan of harboring terrorists, plans to send a delegation to warn the Taliban government in Kabul. The Pak Defence Minister Khwaja Asif declared that Islamabad has run out of patience and warned that those sheltering or facilitating terrorists will face consequences. While Taliban Foreign Minister has hit back at Pakistan, cautioning Islamabad not to provoke the Afghans. Said, go and listen and learn from the Russians, the NATO, the US, what it means to take up a fight or to provoke Afghans. Now, what does this mean? 1. Pakistan is upset with Taliban expanding ties with Bharat. 2. Message to Taliban that Pakistan can dictate terms. 3. Pak's way of telling the world that Kabul is its backyard. Pakistan wants the Taliban to remain submissive to Rawalpindi. So, has the Taliban finally divorced Pakistan, or is this just diplomatic posturing? Is there more to it than meets the eye? Before we understand this from our guests, let's quickly go across, and I think we've just got him on the phone. Joining us live is Suhail Shaheen, Afghan envoy in Doha. Mr. Sohail Shaheen, thank you for speaking with us. My first question to you, this Hindustan-Afghanistan relationship, very old, civilizational, cultural. Bharat has always mentioned that maintained that this relationship is all about the people-to-people connect. How do you see this?
I say the people of Afghanistan in India, they have a traditional relation throughout the history. There was a need to resume that normal and good relation they had throughout the ages. I expect this visit will become a start point of a new phase of relation between the two countries. And after this, I also expect that there should be a committee to explore various areas of cooperation and strengthening relation.
When you talk about operations, Mr. Sohail Shaheen, one of the issues is restarting a lot of the pending projects that were in the interest of the people of Afghanistan, and they have all been stalled ever since what happened in 2021. But can you guarantee full security? Ensure this?
We are regional countries, and there are opportunities in Afghanistan, particularly of investment, and there were projects which the India was working to complete, but they still remaining incomplete. These needs to be resumed, and also as a regional country, we have shared interest in security of the region. We have shared interest in promoting trade and commerce, and there are other areas of cooperation between the two countries. I hope after this visit, it will give impetus to all will give impetus to cooperation in all those areas.
Right. So let me ask you this question again. Now, concern is starting off pending projects. Will you be able to control and assure security? Safety is a big concern.
Yeah, sure. There, we guarantee full security. We will provide full security, and if you compare the security prevalent in Afghanistan with other countries, the security in Afghanistan is, a better security in the country, and also we provide full security to your projects and to your mission in Kabul.
Right, but will you be able to control terror groups or tanzeems like the Lashkar, Jaish, TTP, Al-Qaeda? They're all claimed to be operating and using Afghan soil, and they pose threat to Indian officers, Indian officials, people, assets who would be there to help with the development work, etc.
Yes, yesterday there was no attack by ISIS. There was a explosion, but it is still not known. Investigation team is working on that. There was a physical presence of ISIS during occupation of Afghanistan in the eastern provinces of the country and also in the northern provinces of the country. Now there is no more. Maybe some individuals also they are coming from other countries outside of Afghanistan, but they are individuals. If you can look at the previous months, you will not see any incident of that kind in the country. Even anyone, men and women, are able to travel from one province to other province day and night, which is not possible in some other countries. So the security is better security, but I think there is a need that journalists come to Afghanistan and they see the security with their own eyes, and I invite journalists.
So you are inviting our ministers, our government to come and visit Afghanistan and see how things are on ground. You are saying there is far greater security than in some other countries. But my question is, how will we manage, or how will you manage access, Bharatiya access into Afghanistan? Because right now those avenues are limited. It is via Chabahar. But have you considered that? What are the possibilities?
Yeah, sure. We start relation and will explore all possibilities, routes between the two countries, and of course we can have several alternatives, and that would be discussed between the two countries, and we will choose the best one.
Well, thank you. Thank you for speaking with us, Mr. Suhail Shaheen. Let's open this up, viewers. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, Zahak Tanveer and Arun Anand are with us. My namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, even as many comments were made warning Pakistan not to take panga with the Afghans, there was one aspect which was highlighted which said that open up the Atari-Wagah border, because the passage of trade happens via Pakistan. This connectivity and connecting Bharat and Afghanistan directly is an issue. We would also like to place on record, viewers, that Bharat has not officially recognized the Taliban regime. What it has recognized is that there has to be increased cooperation between people to people, and Bharat's presence in Afghanistan is imperative, which the Taliban also acknowledge. Yes, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra.
Well, Atari-Wagah border is always a pressure point for Pakistan. Even in the worst humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, recent earthquake being one example, they were very reluctant to let the Indian food supplies pass through that border. So ultimately it had to be sent through Chabahar. So I don't think Pakistan would be in any mood, especially in present circumstances and even in coming days, to let India have access to Afghanistan or vice versa, which was obtaining earlier in pre-Taliban period. At least Afghanistan exports of dry fruits and so on were coming through the land border. But situation has changed, and Pakistan will try to ensure that Afghanistan is starved of its dollars that came in from India.
But then how would you read this current situation? Look at Khwaja Asif's utterances. The Pakistanis clearly are not happy. They're quite irritated. The fact that Amir Khan Muttaqi is going to stay on and he is going to visit Deoband, that is very, very important, because that's a clear delinking with the Rawalpindi and trying to very clearly underline the Deoband connect of the Taliban leadership, that is the Kandahari leadership. Ambassador Saab.
Well, couple of points. First, whenever the present day Pakistani military or civilian leadership speaks threateningly, then something terrible happens. When Munir talked about Hindus and so on in a vicious manner, Pahalgam happened. Yesterday, when Khwaja Asif in Parliament talked against Afghanistan and how the Pakistani patience was getting over, then the bombs started flying towards Kabul and other parts of Afghanistan. So Pakistan is a vicious player as far as India is concerned, and is becoming vicious as far as Afghanistan is concerned, which only proves the point that there are no permanent friendships, only permanent interests. And Afghanistan is a typical case. After 21, Pakistan thought it had Afghanistan under its thumb, and Taliban will follow its orders. that has evaporated quickly despite the meeting, trilateral meeting on 21st May in China between China, Pakistan and Afghanistan, where ironically the Chinese foreign minister announced that Pakistan and Afghanistan are going to set up diplomatic relations very soon. And he also announced on behalf of the three that CPEC will now pass through Afghanistan. And within 4 months, things have changed dramatically. Now, Pakistan and Afghanistan are daggers drawn. I hope this is a lesson to the present Afghan leadership that Pakistan cannot be trusted, and as far as the religious element is concerned, Pakistan should look at its streets in Lahore and other parts of Pakistan where the fundamentalists, especially the Lablab Tehreek, they are posing a huge threat to not just the police of Pakistan but also for the army of Pakistan. So Pakistan should stay out of the religious game that it keeps playing occasionally, including the visit by the Afghan foreign minister to the Devbandi headquarters, which have hosted Afghan students all through over the years.
Tehreek-e-Labbaik, I'm given to understand, my knowledge is limited, are largely the Barelvis. So, and they were created, and this Tehreek-e-Labbaik was created to try and segregate the support base of PML Noon or Nawaz Sharif. And they eventually, worked with the PTI and then worked against them too. Now, this is again a creation of the Pak military and the ISI. General Pandey, your assessment?
Yeah, so firstly, the relationship between India and Afghanistan, I think let's go for its civilizational. To tie it to the level of governance on either side may be fraught with the risk. And we should just focus on the traditional part. And India has always supported Afghanistan people in terms of infrastructure and has never meddled in the politics of Afghanistan. Like that has been the norm, fortunately, for our leadership since our independence. So this is one part I think people are talking of. And second part, which I think Ambassador Dogra highlighted, I just want to reiterate that even in the Taliban 1.0, Pakistan thought that like the way it is a rentier state to China or Saudis and Americans, they will have a rentier state giving a strategic depth on their western borders. It didn't happen, right? And it's not going to happen because philosophically, ideologically, and so many other ways, Afghans are totally different than what Pakistanis are, right? Fiercely independent, they cannot be controlled or ruled by anybody from outside. And the moment you start making them a rentier or a subordinate state, right, it actually irks them and pushes them to one side. So this will not happen. And second is, please understand, the borders, the Durand line till the time is not accepted or the line is not accepted. The people on either side of the border, which is quite porous, amorphous, especially the Pashtun, and people are going to be moving on either side, right? And this is not going to happen, that recognition of Durand line the way it is. Pakistan has been wanting, it will not happen ever. The fourth point, which is very important, is please understand that Pakistan has been putting across terrorists on either side. Alongside Taliban, against the previous government of Afghanistan, the terrorism was brought in by Pakistanis as a proxy state for the Americans, right? Now, against the Taliban, they came back again and again put terrorism against the Taliban 2.0 when Taliban threw out the Americans this time. And this has actually showcased Pakistanis in a very, very poor light. Taliban doesn't have an iota of trust on Pakistanis and is unlikely to have ever because of this flip-flop which ISI and the leadership of Pakistan has shown. This attack yesterday night, which we had a discussion in the morning, striking deep, the deep state of Pakistan has struck deep into the strategic depth which they thought is now going to have a blowback in a major manner. If they had not done it and possibly they had tried to engage with Afghan leadership, things would have still been managed. But when you strike Afghanistan people, they are going to come back in a big way against the Pakistanis. I think the casualties, the civilian casualties, children who have died, and of course, I'm told that son of Noor has also died in this
Noor Wali
attack.
Khan Masood,
Is
that's right.
going to have on either side that the TTP factions which were there was a partition, there was a factionalism which was there, are likely to now align against the Pakistan government. And when you look at what is happening in Lahore, and I think very aptly brought out by Ambassador Dogra about Labak, containerizing. They have containerized Islamabad in entirety, and I was seeing the videos. Situation is pretty miserable in Pakistan today.
It's miserable for the security establishment largely because if you have to say kahan lade, where all will they fight, because they're stretched thin. And then they have also attempted these airstrikes, and Khwaja Asif wants all the Afghans to leave Pakistan. Imagine what more are they unleashing upon themselves. Zahak Tanveer, is the divorce between the Afghanistan and especially the Taliban and Pakistan underlined here? Because even in their government, there is a strong Pakistani faction led by the Haqqanis.
Indeed, the divorce has taken place long ago, but I would say that the papers are under processing. So if you look back at the history of Taliban and Pakistan, in fact, Taliban was backed by Pakistan, Darul Uloom Haqqaniya. But now what India is trying to do, India is playing game from the two sides, the religious side as well as from the geopolitical and geostrategical side as well. India is trying to push Darul Uloom Deoband as an alternative to Darul Uloom Haqqaniya, as a softer version of the Deobandi Islam. The same kind of strategy was employed by the Arabs as well when they were trying to control the Shia Islam, which was dominant by the custodian of the Shia Islam was by Khomeini in Iran. So they replaced it with the Sistani of Iraq. So what India is trying to do is trying to play the same game, and it's a very fantastic game which India is trying to do right now. If you compare the kind of relationship India has with Afghanistan and the kind of relationship Pakistan has with Afghanistan, Pakistan has used Afghanistan for its own goals, like to control the opium industry, to use them against for the terrorism. And in fact, Pakistan has played the double game by getting the Americans kill the Taliban in Afghanistan, and also getting the Mujahideen training done inside Afghanistan to kill the American soldiers. So it was trying to kill the Americans, and at the same time was trying to kill the Afghanis as well. So Afghanis have recognized this, and in fact, this chaos has been happening for the past 20 years. If you compare it with what India has done, and let me tell you what happened with me. When I was in Saudi Arabia, I went to a Bukhari restaurant, and the Afghani guy, he asked me the first question, are you Indian or Pakistani? I said, I'm an Indian. And his response was, wow, you guys, you gave us schools, you gave us hospitals, you gave us dams, and you gave us roads. And Pakistanis, they gave us terrorism, they gave us Mujahideen training, and they caused devastation in our country. This is not what he was trying to do to gain a customer. But the same thing happened with me in Makkah, when an Afghani guy at the 3-star hotel, he said the same thing, that due to India, he could study and he could come to work in Saudi Arabia. So the Afghanis, they recognize India as sincere friends, not as Pakistan, who tries to use them and throws them. And if you look at the relationship of India and Afghanistan, they have historical continuity, and India has also offered the alternative trade through Chabad port, while Pakistan is trying to control the trade to Afghanistan. And India's diplomatic approach has always been calibrated. India is not too much leaning to recognize Talibani government, but at the same time, India is also trying to balance it. Yeah.
Right. Just an update before we go, bring in Arun Anand, who's been patiently listening to everybody else. Arunji, coming to you in a bit, there's an update now. So the TTP has reacted, or it's not TTP, it's another outfit called Ittihadul Mujahideen Pakistan, IMP. They have claimed this attack. What's happened is 11 soldiers have lost their lives in an attack by the Pakistani Taliban on the Haidar Kandahu military post. The post is located in Tirah, in the Khyber district. Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us these details. The incident took place post-midnight in the wee hours of Friday. So after the strikes by the Pakistan Air Force, immediate response has been at the Tirah Khyber district. 11 more Pakistani soldiers have been neutralized. The Pakistan airstrike happened, Arun Anand, because of this. Interestingly, Kandahar finds a mention way back into the Mahabharata. Shakuni and Gandhari were from that region. Gandhar, which now eventually became Kandahar. But we'll keep that aside and let's focus on the current. Yes, Arun Anand.
See, there is a financial angle to it about which not many people talk about it. Why Pakistan will not have Afghanistan or the Taliban government on its side? You see, one of the major industries which is run by Pakistani army and military establishment is basically their drug industry, basically the narcotics. And for that, till Taliban was supporting, or was kind of a partner with the Pakistani military establishment in terms of procuring opium from the Afghanistan fields and then giving it to, and then they get processed in ISI run labs, and then they are exported through Central Asian routes. Also, there is a big issue why ISIS is aligning with the Pakistanis, because in those provinces, Afghanistan has one of the highest, deposits of largest deposits of talc, the talcum powder, which all of us use. So ISIS KP, the main source of funding of ISIS in Afghanistan is the smuggling of those talc deposits, in which the ISI of Pakistan also, or the Pakistani military establishment, is also basically part of this whole network. So we have to look at largely, and that's why there is now a clash between. That is one of the key reasons you see this alignment of forces where ISIS is aligning with the Pakistanis and Taliban is standing opposite. Also, India needs. I think it's a very good move. What is happening, because India needs access to Central Asia through Afghanistan, because the Chinese influence is rapidly growing in Central Asia. In fact, in Uzbekistan, countries like Uzbekistan, they have made it mandatory to teach Mandarin in schools. So you can imagine the kind of influence which is which Chinese are holding in Central Asia. So for that purpose also, I think Afghanistan being kind of a buffer between, and Afghanistan provides access to Central Asia. India will have a much greater access to Central Asia. So I think that is also what we need to look at.
No, because that's something Amir Khan Muttaqi very openly said, and he was speaking in Urdu, and he said that you have to use Afghanistan as your gateway into rest of Central Asia and use us as a transit point, and we are happy and we'll build other avenues for connecting, but use us, and we'd like India to partner with us and partner because we trust them. This aspect of trust, how critical is it, Ambassador Rajiv Dugra, and what's the way ahead? Because is there the threshold between officially recognizing and not engaging at all? Is that the threshold that Bharat is now establishing?
Well, diplomacy never advocates that we should not engage. We must engage, because that's what it is about. But coming back to a point made by one of your guests about the difference in approach between Pakistan and in India. That is very fundamental. Pakistan's approach to Afghanistan all through the last 40 years was through the deep state. Whether they were the Taliban terrorists or some other form of terrorists, India's approach was always people-centric. Whatever be the form of government, be it Taliban or be it the royal government and so on, it was always for the benefit of people, and that is why Afghan people appreciate India so much. The other important important point which I want to stress, and which General Saab had also mentioned, and that is General Pandey had mentioned, and that is that Durand Line. In fact, I've written a book on it called Durand's Curse, which has been translated into Pashto and Farsi. And there, what I've emphasized is that 1893 agreement was a deception. And since 1947, no Afghan government has accepted Durand Line as border. They have always contested this and called it an area of influence, as it was called in 1893. So whether it is Taliban government or the royal government or the so-called democratic governments, they have always protested about it. In fact, that is why they protested against Pakistan's membership in United Nations in 1947.
Right.
So there are differences between them, but that should not let us get carried away by the present shift in mood of the Afghan authorities, represented by the foreign minister's visit. While it is
Right.
welcome, while the developments are welcome, we must keep fingers crossed, because loyalties can change, friendships can change.
One
very
part
fast.
is, a lot of it is perhaps looks like reinventing of the wheel, but this time around it just looks like it is coming with double treads, and these are tubeless, that they are not going to get punctured very soon. If people understand the simile or the metaphor that I'm trying to make,